So I wanted to talk about narcissistic abuse and making mothers and lesbians and other women permanent targets. Now when somebody is a narcissist and they spot things that make their identity feel fragile, they'll lash out at them to try and erase them, and we see this through Twitter all the time. But the implications of trans rights activism a la Twitter are that lesbians are a permanent target for abuse because their female sexuality reminds people with a prostate that they have a prostate. As lesbians did not put that prostate there, and it's biology that and that prostate that excludes that person from lesbianism, we're not really letting lesbians be a permanent target of abuse because somebody has decided that it's lesbians' job to help them manage dysphoria. It's not. Lesbians don't exist to validate you. Mothers are not being permanent targets of abuse because they remind Sean Fay that his narcissism isn't actually normal, never mind motherhood. You know, the people who have been targeted, I've been targeted by this because I discuss safeguarding and because I'm a mother and because I discuss inequality. Apparently my dissertation's a turf dissertation because it said, like, all babies are produced in a uterus and this is at the root of systemic inequality. It is. We're not making lesbians and mothers permanent targets because somebody has got confused over the purpose of equality legislation. Equality legislation is recognition, equality is contested. A gender recognition certificate that can be issued to a serious sex offender in prison is not an automatic right or passport to spaces of safety from male violence. And you identifying as a woman does not allow you to make lesbians and mothers a permanent target. If you do that, you are demonstrating masculinity, and you are also demonstrating a deeply disturbing abusive masculinity that puts those women at risk. That hasn't changed because you have identified as female. That behaviour is still dangerous and indicative of very disordered thinking. And I think this is at the core of it. Maria Miller was warned about sex offenders using, you know, a female identity to make subsequent offending easier because women don't do those things. Let's be clear right now. You can't identify into women being unable to recognise those things. And unfortunately, any claim that women were to just not question this has gone out the window with the behaviour of trans activists. And all we really have to do is stand firm and wait for the politicians who are the other half of political responsibility for these things to realise that their scalps are on the line unless they realise what they have done. The Guardian have been using trans to absolve male violence to the point where they described the murder, a double attempted murder committed by Lauren Jessica as a warning for transphobia. The Guardian are a dying newspaper, and that's why they're a dying newspaper. But these systems and laws have not changed and are not going to, and they're just going to keep developing. And what we're seeing is a really interesting demonstration of what happens when batshit policy hits these systems, and how easy it is for women just to say, hi, those laws are ours, those systems are ours, and you will obey them. And I think it's really, really good that, you know, most of the systems that I'm discussing evolved slowly over the 20th century, and all this really is, it's an opportunity for women to show what they learned in the 20th century, which is that we actually know completely how to deal with abusive behaviour patterns, because they don't fucking change. This has been dressed up, but you know, the disguise wasn't that good. And identify as really isn't enough to get us out of any policy problem, and this is time limited as a result.